So in this video, we are going to understand the basics of JavaScripts, and we'll see what are the advantages we have if we use JavaScript in your HTML document. And also we'll see what kind of statements we have in your JavaScript. Simply we can say a JavaScript is a scripting language and which is being used mostly in client-side web development, and it is going to follow the standard of ECMA standard. And our JavaScript is being supported by all the browsers we have, like Explorer, Opera, Firefox, etc. Okay. So we have different versions of JavaScript. Mostly we use a JavaScript which is the version of Microsoft. So simply I say that our JavaScript is a Microsoft version of your JavaScript, and it is almost compatible with all the web browsers we have now. So now we'll see what are the advantages we have if you are going to include your JavaScript in your HTML document. So if you include JavaScript in your HTML document, it creates interactive user interface in web page. Means where a user can interact with your web document. So which can be done by having your menu bars. I can have your pop-up menus. I can have your alerts, and also we can have your windows. And one interesting thing we can do with JavaScript is we can modify the content which is there in your web page. We can even change the style, as we all know, right? And we can also reload the images on your web document. So if we use JavaScript in your web designing, we can also include the feature of your AJAX, which stands for Asynchronous JavaScript and XML. So what AJAX terminology is going to do is, it is going to show the updates which are done without refreshing your web document. So basically what happens is, whenever I want to see the changes on the web document, we need to refresh the document. So we can even do that refreshment without clicking the button on your web page. That's the advantage we have if we use your AJAX as a part of your web development. So we can learn our JavaScript, okay, from the tutorials, JavaScript tutorials. And also we can go to your W3 schools. We can have your editgrid.com. So these are the few references I can show to you, so that you can, if you are interested, if you want to explore your JavaScript, then you can go visit these sites and do the operations on it. Now we'll see the first program of my JavaScript, which is included in your HTML page. Now, if you see the document here, what I can see here is that, so what I can observe here is we have the HTML document as usual. So we are going to have your head, we are going to have the body. Now we are going to write a tag called script tag. So whatever the instructions which I want to keep in your JavaScript should be enclosed in between the tag called script tag. So this is the opening of the script tag, and this is the closing of your script tag. Okay. And then we need to specify what sort of content is there in that element. Okay. So the type of content which will be there in the script tag is, it can be the instructions of your JavaScript, or it can be the ordinary text also. Okay. Ordinary text in the sense we can even include your HTML elements in the output statement of your JavaScript. So one of the output statement we have in your JavaScript is document.write. Then we are going to use your tag of your HTML, and we can all have your ordinary text, and we can also have your tag as my element in your output statement. So the output of this particular statement is like this. So we are going to have the horizontal line, then we are going to have your information, then again we are going to have your horizontal line. So these are this is the output which is generated if you are going to execute this particular snippet of code. I think now, and as usual, we are going to save this program by using the extension of .html. Suppose I say the name of the program is one.html, and then we are going to execute the program by any browser. Okay, now we are able to understand how we are going to include the JavaScript in your what you say in your HTML document. Now just I'll erase the content so that I can have some space for other content on the screen. Okay, now we go ahead and see now. Now suppose I want to separate a JavaScript. It means that I would like to create a separate JavaScript file which contains only the scripting elements, or JavaScript code only should be there. So what I do, I'll create a separate file. I'll create a separate file, and after creating a separate file, what I do is I name this program. So in my example, I name this program as your source file.js, where your JS stands for your JavaScript. So your source file.js is assumed. Now what I do is I'll give the address of this file here now. It means that it is a separate file in which contains only the scripting elements, and we are going to link that JavaScript file to your HTML document. Okay. So whenever I execute your HTML document, the control is shifted to that JavaScript file. Then we execute the instructions of it in a sequential manner, and the output of that file is embedded into the script tag which is there in your HTML file. Okay, so for including the external JavaScript files in your HTML document, we are going to use the element called as your HRC, where it stands for your source. Okay, then coming to your next slide, I need to erase these things. Okay, now I go ahead now. Okay, so whenever I embed, right, the scripts inside the HTML document in order they appear in the document. So I have my first script, I have my second script, I have my third script. Assume that all these scripts are embedded into your HTML document. So the execution of these scripting files are done in a sequential manner, means one after the other. Okay, and they will not overlap. Okay, and the second one will wait for the first one to be completed. The third one will wait till the completion of the second one, and so on. Now, suppose I want to execute some code in incompatible web browsers. Suppose we can find some uncompatible web browsers also, right? Incompatible web browser. So what I do here now, we can write my no script there. We are going to say no script here. We are going to say the no script, and then we are going to have some instructions, and whatever the instructions which are there here will be executed in the web browsers which are not compatible. Okay, in the high-end versions or in the very low-end versions where the standard is not going to work. So we are going to perform these tags for their execution. Now we are going to talk about three very interesting functionalities we have, by which we are going to make your web page interactive. Interactive in the sense, they will ask something, you will give. Okay, they take something, you give. So these operations, I call it as uh, interaction, interactive web pages. So for making your website interactive, you are going to have three functions here. Number first function is alert, confirm, and the prompt. Okay. Now, if you say alert, okay, it is going to give you an alert message like this. It means it is going to give you the instructions. Okay, like okay, something has occurred and you need to have the information of it. Then we call it as an alert box. Then we are going to have the second type of function. We call that function as confirm. So when we are, basically what happens is when you are installing the software, it will be asking you whether to go forward or not. So if you say okay, it is going to go ahead. Otherwise, if you say cancel, it is going to cancel all the events. So this type of information is generated for the client by using this functionality. Then you are going to have a very interesting the functionality called as your prompt. So what this prompt is going to do, this prompt is going to ask you, right, something to enter. And whatever the data enter will be carried into your web page where we are going to validate the data in that web page. So all those things are been done, right? All those things are done in your website by using these functionalities. Now we'll see what exactly is going to happen with these functions now. So if you say like, if I'm saying that I'm saying alert, okay, it is going to display the dialog box, okay, and the dialog blocks will block the browser. What it does, it is going to block the browser. It means that unless you give some answer to this box, okay, you cannot perform any sort of operations on that web page. And then confirm. This confirm method displays a window where you are going to say true or false, okay or cancel. If you say okay, it returns true. Otherwise, it returns false. And depending upon the value you give, the data execution is dependent on these values. Okay. Then we are going to talk about the prompt. When, as I said, whenever we need to enter some data into that one, when I need to enter some data there, then we are going to say prompt, okay, and it is going to allow the user to enter a value, okay, and then we are going to press okay. So whenever I say prompt, so what happens, it is going to take the data. What it does, it is going to take the data from the user. So with this information now what we are able to understand, we are able to understand that okay, these functions are used for making the client to enter his own information into your website. Okay. Then now we'll see how we are going to build the identifiers of your JavaScript. As you all know, it is same as your Java, C, C++. Identifiers should start with a character and it should not start with a number. Okay. And it is case sensitive and we cannot use the words or we cannot use your keywords as the identifiers of your program. So now we are going to see how we are going to declare a variable, which is very interesting part we need to observe. Suppose I have a variable called as x. Without declaring the data type also I can do it. So if I say x is equal to 3 here, it means that I say window dot x is equal to 3. I can also write y is equal to 4. It means that window dot y is equal to 4. Okay. And we can also create a block. We can also create a block in your script where there is no exact relationship between the variables which are there within the block as and outside the block, though the name is same. Okay, though the name is same, this variable is different from this variable. This variable is different from this variable. This advantage, it means that whenever I want to separate the variables of same name, then what I do is I'll just keep those instructions within the block and then separate them from its execution. Okay. Then coming to the other topics of it, I'll just yeah. Now we'll see what are the data types we have in your JavaScript. Simply we say that we are going to have the primitive data types, then composite data types, and the special data types. In the primitive data types, we'll talk about the numbers, the booleans, and the strings. So altogether, I call them as your primitive data type. And the composite data types are the object and the array, and the special data types are the null and undefined. So these are the special, these are the data types we have in your JavaScript language. Now we'll go ahead and see what are the other things we have. Okay, now we'll see the strings here. As we all know that a string is a sequence of alphanumeric character spaces and your special characters. Okay, and then a string, whenever I want to store the data in the form of a string, I can include it in the single quote, or I can also use my double quote. And whenever I want to show a special character, we are going to use my slash, and then we are going to give that special character there. Okay. Now I want to talk about a specialized operator here called as type of. Type of is an operator. Okay. What it is an operator. It is an operator which is going to extract the type of data which is there in this variable. Suppose I say X, what type of data is there in X? What type of Y data is there? What type of Z is it? Okay, if you don't declare that variable, it declares undefined. Okay, it declares it as undefined. So whenever I want to extract what sort of data is there in a particular variable in JavaScript, what we are going to do is just we are going to say type of is a variable. Okay. Then we'll talk about the object. Okay, then we'll talk about an object. As we saw that our JavaScript is an object-based language. Object-based, it is not a fully object-oriented language, but it is an object-based language which contains some variables. It is going to contain some variables where we call those variables as fields, and then it is going to contain some functions, and we call those functions as methods. Unfortunately, we don't have any keyword called class in JavaScript. It means we can directly create an object directly in Java. That's the flexibility we have in your JavaScript. Okay, then we go ahead. Now we are going to talk about an array of, as I said, object and array are the complex data types. Suppose I want to declare an array. So whenever I declare an array, I'll be saying array, then new array, where it specifies the size of that array, and we are going to store the elements from 0 to n minus 1. Can store the values of different types. Okay, then the features of this array are, we can calculate the length of that array by using the length word, and we can perform the operation called as a reverse. Whenever I want to show the elements in a reverse order, I'll say reverse, and then push, then concatenation. So these are some of the operations which we use frequently on an array. Now we are going to have very simple example. Now we are going to have a very simple example. So the simple example is that suppose I say I'm having an array, right? I'm having an array here. I'm having an array, okay, and the size of that array is equal to 3 here. It means I can store 3 elements. Okay. In the first, I stored 1 company, second company, third company. And the same thing can also be happened in this way also. I can also do the same thing using this syntax also. It means that whenever I want to initialize an array, I can do in this first way, I can do in this third way, second way, and I can also do it in my third way also. So these are the different ways I can declare an array in your JavaScript language. Okay. So I'll check out these things and I'll go ahead and we'll see. Right. Now, this is very interesting for us. Very interesting. Okay. Now I'm having an array of size 3. Okay. I stored 3 elements. Okay. Now, and it is an ordinary way, right? Where we are going to initialize the values. Okay. Now just to see this temp3, what's happening? First element is an integer. Second element is a string. And my third element is a Boolean. It means in the arrays of JavaScript, we can even store different types of data into this array. That's the advantage. And we can even increase the size of this array by say length is equal to 10. Automatically, the size of the array is increased to 10. And whatever the slots which are increased by this statement are undefined. It means that we are not going to store any value to that one. Suppose I say, I'll say temp3 of 99 and I store my string. And remaining gaps which are there from 3 to 98 are also undefined. So with this information, what we are going to understand, I can dynamically change the size of that array. That's the information we get from this slide. Then comes. Now we'll talk about null and undefined. So when I say undefined, okay, the undefined value is represented by the keyword called as undefined. It represents the value of an uninitialized variable. Suppose I'm having a variable which is not initialized. So when you have a variable which is not initialized, then what you are going to do is it is called as undefined. Then is null is represented to store nothing. Means if some variable is containing nothing in it, then it is represented by your null. Okay. So type conversions to Boolean, right? So we'll see this one very interesting things. To Boolean, type conversion to Boolean, which is important here. The following values are treated as false. If I say null, it is false. If it is undefined, it is null. If we don't have any values in it, null. If we have an empty string, it is assumed as null. Okay. Right. Now type conversion. I want to convert a value into a number. Okay. A value. It may be any value, right? Whenever I want to convert into a number, what I do is I subtract 0 from it. Then this number, this value is treated as a number. Now I want to convert this value as a string. So just what I do, I'll just add a empty string at the end. And now this is called as a string here. Now I want to convert into a Boolean value. Yes, we are going to use my not symbol there. Then we are going to store the Boolean value of it. So this is how we are going to typecast or convert one type to another type. So we have the operators. So whatever the operators which are available in other languages are there, pre-increment, post-increment operators. And these are all the operators which we see frequently in other languages of C, C++, Java. Here. Now, if you see this particular instruction here, I'll say v1 string. It is a string and it is a value. It is a string and it is a value. And now I want to compare them. So when I compare a string with a value in JavaScript, okay, so what happens is there is no implicit conversion there. So whenever I want to compare a string with a number, first of all, we need to convert it and then we need to compare. Okay, if you are not going to convert them, obviously it returns a false value. Okay, it returns a false value. So when I want to compare a string with a number, first we need to convert a string to a number or a number to a string. Then we can compare those values. And here I want to compare a number with a floating number, a Boolean value with a number, right? A Boolean value with a number and Boolean value string. So these are the different kinds of implicit conversions we use when I compare the values of different data types. So now we have logical operators and or not. Okay. Yeah. Now, so now we have a small example here. Okay, so I am having an array of car. Okay, now I declare an array where we can store 3 elements. This value says that these are the number of elements I can store into that array. So I'll store one company name, second company name, as well as third company name. Okay, I can also declare an array in this way also. I can also declare an array in this way, like array I can have my, means these are the different types of syntaxes where I can declare an array as well as store the elements into that array. Okay. Now, and now we are going to have this array here now. We are going to have my temp1, which is, see here now, array of 3 elements. Each element is undefined. So when I don't give any value into that particular array, then it is undefined. Okay. Now we are going to have a temp2 array here. Now we are going to have an array of my temp2 where we are going to store the values of 10, 100, minus 3. Okay. Now I'm having my temp3 here. Now I'm having my temp3. So in this temp3, if you observe here now, the first value is an integer. The second is a string. And the third is a Boolean value. So with this instruction, what we understand is, we can store different types of elements. I can store different data types. I can store into a single array, which is not possible in your Java language, in your C language, in your C++ language, which are there. Okay. Now suppose temp3, the array length is equal to 3 now. Temp3 length is equal to 10. And temp3 and temp9, suppose I am having my 3 elements, makes the temp3 for 10 elements. Okay. Okay, so what is happening now? Make temp3 dot length is equal to 10, where my temp3 to temp9 are undefined. Means if I don't store any value. Now in this example, now what I can do now, just very interesting thing here now. We are defining the size of an array, and the size of that array is 10. Okay, but we are having the values from 0, 1, 2 only. In the 0th place, I store this one. In my A is stored in this index, and my true, and your true is stored in my second index. And what about my 3 to 9? All are undefined. It means that the advantage here is that we can even change the size of an array. Okay, that's the very interesting thing which we can do in your JavaScript and which is not possible in other languages like Java, C, C++ when I compare with them. Okay. Now what I'm doing now, I'm declaring an array, right? 99. The size of my array is equal to 99. Okay. And I'm storing something. And this is stored 99 place. Then what about my 0 to 98? And from 0, 1, 2, 3, I'm having these elements, 1, 8. And all those elements from 3 to 98 are undefined. Means that if I increase the number here, if I increase the index, automatically your size of your array is dynamically increased. And if you're not having any value in it, okay, then it stores an undefined value. Okay. Now we can understand undefined. Now we can store my null also, represented by the keyword called as undefined, uninitialized value. Okay. Now type conversions to Boolean. Okay. So the following values are treated as false: null value, identified value, all these things. When I have these values in my, what you say, in the comparison statements, if I use them, they return a false value. Now, what I want to do now, converting a value to a number. Okay. See here now, what I am doing now, just I can write in this way. Some variable is there. Okay. Then I want to convert this one to a number. Okay. A value to a number. So whenever I want to convert a value to a number, we'll do this operation. Then it is converted to a number. Converting a value to a string. Okay. Whenever this one is converted to a string, converting a value to a Boolean, right? So when I want to convert this number into a Boolean, then we are going to have these two operators. And this conversion, okay, is very important for us while doing my arithmetic operations using my JavaScript, while performing, or while, what you say, I want to do some arithmetic operations on the data which is there. I want to do some analysis on the data. So whenever I do all those things, we are going to do this sort of operations. Okay. So we need to remember this one very carefully. Okay. This is very interesting type conversions we have in the JavaScript. Okay. Then we have some arithmetic operators. Like we have all my arithmetic operators. We have incrementing, decrementing operators. We have comparison operators. So all those operators are there. Okay. All these operators are there as a part of your JavaScript. Okay. Now, so in this case, if you can see this, slide carefully, if you can see this slide carefully, I'm comparing a string with a number. Okay. I'm comparing a string with a number. Okay. So whenever I compare a string with a number, type conversion is performed before comparison. Means that what happens here now, whether this 5 is converted to string, whether this 5 is converted to a value, or this 5 is converted to a string. Okay. So what I do now, okay, whenever I compare a string with a value, what happens? Any one of the thing has to be converted to other type so that we can compare them. And the same thing is going to happen here now. It's true if both types or values are same. Okay, it's true. It's true. It's true. Then we are going to have some logical operators here. Logical not, and operator, or operator, which are similar to your other languages. Then I can also keep my AND operators. AND means and gate. So I think we heard about these things, right? We heard about the things here. So we heard about things. Okay. So I have null is equal to 100. So if I say 100, right? AND means we are going to keep an AND gate. Means we know 1 and 1 is going to 1, is going to be 1, was 0 and 1 is going to be 0. So all those things we know, right? So whenever I want to perform my AND operation, then we are going to see this way. Okay. Yeah, or operations also. So these are the kind of operations which we can have. Okay. In your and then we are going to see some operators here, right? Then we are going to see some operators. Okay. And those operators are like what do you say? These operators are like oh, need to change it right now. Now we are going to have my string concatenation operator. So plus is my string concatenation of. It means that I am having my suppose I'm having my string one. I want to add with my string two. Then we are going to just use my plus symbol there. And if I use my plus symbol there, it will be acting as a concatenating operator. And then we have assignment operators are also there. Plus is equal to minus is equal to, and also we are going to have your bitwise operators also. Okay, so these are the some of the operators we have. Okay, in your JavaScript. Now we'll talk about the conditional statements I have. Okay, now we'll see about the conditional statements we have in our JavaScript. So, as we all know that Java is having a conditional statement called if else, all those things are there. So the same conditional statements are also there in your JavaScript also. If else, and then we are going to have your ternary operators also, and then we have my switch statement also. So the syntax of these statements is almost similar to your C as well as your Java. So the syntax is similar to your C and Java. Right now we have some looping statements also. So we have some looping statements. So we'll check what are the looping statements we have. So we have my for loop. We have for in loops, while loops, to while loops. We have a break statement to break my loop. Then we are going to have your continue statement, which is going to send the control to the beginning of the executing block. And whenever I want to break, whenever I want to come out of your executing block, I have my break continue. So these are the iterative statements or looping instructions we have in your JavaScript. Okay. Then coming to your next slide. So we'll see the syntax of it, right? Okay. Just we can have the syntax of it. So for I'm having my for loop here. What I do now, I'll be having a for loop. I'll be having a for loop here for variable in object. Okay. This is the syntax where these particular instructions are repeated until this particular variable is in this object. Okay. If this value is in this object, so the instructions of the statements will be executed. Otherwise, it will not be executed. Okay. So this is how we are going to perform your for loop, and I call this as the syntax of your for loop and all. So we have a small example here now. So if you see that example here, now you can understand, okay, what exactly is going to happen in this case. So I have a simple example. I have my key value in block list. What is my block list here in my book list? Sorry. In the book list, I will be having some values. Okay. Do you have any book list here? My list is there. Okay. This is instead of this is my list. Okay. Okay. So what I do now, just you can. This is called as your my list. Okay. So I'll just add my values key in my book list, my list. First it is Chinese, then we are going to add my English, then we are going to add my Japanese, okay? And all those things have been added to your values, and we are going to print these values there. Okay, now what is happening here now? So key is a variable which is declared, okay? Key is a variable which is declared, okay? Then and this my list is an array I have in which we are going to have some elements. So we are going to take that element one after the other till that array is exhausted. Okay, and then we are going to print these things in this way. So this is a very simple example for your what you say your fun. Then we'll go to your object creation and all. Very simple example again we are going to have here. So the example is that. So the example is that yeah. So I have object. Now I want to create an object. So the name of that object is obj. Obj is equal to new object. Okay. Obj dot property one. Obj dot property two. Obj property three is equal to true. Okay. Now I want to extract the properties of that object. So now, so when I say the properties, right, then what we are going to do is, because I say it is an object, we are going to store the values into that object. Okay. I'm storing 1, 2, 3, I'm storing 4, 5, 6, and I'm storing a true value. And then what I'm doing now, I'm extracting all the values. Okay. I'm extracting all the values which I can do. So this is a best example how we are going to create and store the elements into your object. We can also have functions in your JavaScript. Okay. You can also have functions here. See, it is a function now. It is the function which takes p1, which is an argument. Okay. And if this value which is there in my p1 is a number, it returns 0. If it is a string, it returns a 0. Means that, right? What we are able to understand here now, we understand that, okay. So now we are going to call this one. Now, if you can see here, I'm calling the same function with an integer. We are calling the same thing with a string, and we are calling the same thing and without sending an argument also. It means that here we are applying the concept called as polymorphism, which is one of the basic feature of your object-oriented features here. Okay, so I can send the things into an integer, a string, or a null value. So it returns a 0, undefined, and all those things, right? Okay, it is about the function arguments and all we have in your Java. Right. Now we'll see how we are going to send these things into your what you say. Very interesting example it is. I'm calling a function sum, okay, and arguments dot length. So we are not having any variable called as argument. So though we are not going to declare any variable of an argument, your computer automatically declare a variable argument, and this 1 2 3 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5 is sent into this array. Okay, and we are going to have the length, and then we are going to add things. See here now, 1 2 3, this is 6. Okay, obviously, and this is equal to 15, obviously. But in this case, I'm trying to add a string to numbers, which is not possible. So whenever I add values to a string, which is not possible, then it returns an undefined value. So this is how the argument variable is declared in your JavaScript. Then we have one more inbuilt functions we have. So we are going to have the evaluation function. Whenever I want to perform some mathematical operation, then we are going to say evaluation. Then the function call in alert, right, is finite, okay, is not a number. So all those things have been given by this one, okay. Then we have some functions here. So the functions are like see, I'm having some functions here. Parse int s as radix. Okay. Parses up to any character that is not a part of valid number. See here now, parse int. So this string, now it is a string because it is in double quote. So it takes one character or it takes one value which is separated by other, and this 3 is returned by my parse int, and this returns 5. Okay, this because a string cannot be converted to an integer, so it is not going to give anything. Then parse 17 comma 8. See here now, what it does, radix is now, it returns a value called as 15. Okay, then I can even convert to a float also. I can even convert them into a float. Okay, objects, right? Our JavaScript is not an object-oriented language, but it is an object-based language. Okay. It's also possible to have some inheritance also in your JavaScript. Okay. Now, if you can see this example. So the example is that we have a person, right? We have a person, right? It's an object. We are adding some features, and person dot say hi is equal to function. Okay, means that I am adding a functionality to a variable. So whenever I want to add a functionality to a variable, okay, I will write the statement in this way. Okay, let's say write the keyword code as a function, and I'll be having the body here. And whenever I say hi function, and this is being executed. Actually, this feature in Java, we call it as the lambdas. Okay, where we are going to call the lambda in my Java 8 and higher versions of your Java. So this one is helpful for you whenever you want to write your own functions in your JavaScript. Okay. Then we are going to have some objects like, okay, first name is John, last name is John. I can even have a variable in this way. I can also have a person where we are going to have some variables, and then we are going to have a function here, and I can also write that function in this way. Means I can also have a declare a class here in this way. Then if I would like to store a triangle fields in this way, then I can write the syntax like this. Okay. So these are the ways, right, by how we are going to use your JavaScript, okay, in your object-oriented language. Okay. Once again, I'll thank for the slide preparing authors, which has been downloaded from your slide share. Just I want to help the students on this matter. Thank you.